8 ways how kindness will ruin your life. Kindness is often celebrated as one of the most virtuous traits a person can possess. It fosters connections, promotes harmony, and contributes to a more compassionate society. However, while kindness is generally seen as a positive force, it is not without its drawbacks. In some cases, excessive or poorly directed kindness can lead to unintended consequences that negatively impact an individual's well-being, relationships, and overall quality of life. This article explores 8 ways in which kindness, when misused or taken to extremes, can have detrimental effects. From enabling toxic behavior to attracting manipulation, kindness can sometimes do more harm than good if not exercised with discernment. By examining these potential pitfalls, we gain a deeper understanding of how even the noblest intentions can backfire when applied without wisdom. 1. Enabling toxic behavior. One of the most significant dangers of unchecked kindness is that it can enable toxic behavior in others. While compassion and support are essential in helping people through difficult times, consistently overlooking harmful actions under the guise of kindness can reinforce negative patterns. For instance, someone might repeatedly excuse a friend's manipulative tendencies, believing they are being kind by offering forgiveness and support. However, this leniency may prevent the individual from facing the consequences of their actions, ultimately allowing them to continue behaving destructively. A common real-life example of this occurs in romantic relationships where one partner continuously overlooks infidelity, dishonesty, or emotional abuse because they believe they are doing the right thing by staying supportive. Instead of fostering growth, this misplaced kindness often enables the toxic partner to persist in their harmful behavior without accountability. Similarly, in professional settings, a manager who refuses to address poor performance out of fear of hurting an employee's feelings may inadvertently allow inefficiency and resentment to fester within the team. By failing to set boundaries and enforce consequences, kindness can become a tool that perpetuates dysfunction rather than promoting healing. Recognizing when compassion turns into complicity is crucial in ensuring that kindness serves its intended purpose, to uplift and improve lives rather than sustain destructive behaviors.
2. Attracting manipulation and exploitation. When kindness is extended without discernment, it can make individuals vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation. People with opportunistic tendencies often recognize genuine generosity as a weakness they can exploit for personal gain. Those who consistently prioritize others' needs over their own may find themselves surrounded by individuals who take advantage of their goodwill without offering anything in return. This dynamic can manifest in various aspects of life, including friendships, romantic relationships, and even professional environments. For example, consider a scenario where a highly empathetic coworker constantly agrees to take on extra tasks to be helpful. Over time, colleagues begin to expect this behavior, delegating their responsibilities onto this person without acknowledgement or reciprocation. Eventually, the kind-hearted individual becomes overwhelmed, resentful, and undervalued. Similarly, in personal relationships, a generous friend may continually lend money to someone who never repays them, only to realize they are being used as a financial crutch rather than supported as an equal. The root of this issue lies in the failure to establish healthy boundaries. Without clear expectations and limits, kindness can become a gateway for others to take advantage of one's generosity. Learning to say no and recognizing when kindness is being exploited is essential in preventing such dynamics from developing. True kindness should empower both parties rather than create an imbalance where one person consistently benefits at the expense of another. 3. Hindering personal growth. Excessive kindness toward others can sometimes come at the cost of personal growth and self-development. When individuals prioritize the needs of others above their own to an unhealthy degree, they risk neglecting their aspirations, goals, and well-being. This pattern is particularly common among those who derive their sense of self-worth primarily from helping others, leading them to sacrifice their own progress in the process. Over time, this can result in stagnation, unfulfilled ambitions, and a diminished sense of identity. For instance, a parent who constantly puts their child's needs before their own may struggle to pursue career opportunities or personal interests, ultimately feeling trapped in a cycle of selflessness. Similarly, an employee who always volunteers for additional work to accommodate colleagues may find themselves overlooked for promotions because they appear too eager to take on responsibilities without advocating for their own advancement. In both cases, kindness, while well-intentioned, hinders personal development by diverting energy and resources away from self-improvement. Moreover, failing to assert one's own needs can lead to internal frustration and resentment, further impeding personal growth. When individuals consistently suppress their desires to maintain harmony, they may lose sight of their own ambitions and values. Recognizing the importance of balancing kindness with self-care is crucial in ensuring that generosity does not come at the expense of personal fulfillment. 4. Damaging relationships through codependency. While kindness is often seen as a foundation for strong, healthy relationships, it can also contribute to the development of codependency when taken to extremes. Codependency occurs when one person excessively prioritizes another's needs to the detriment of their own well-being, creating an imbalanced and often unhealthy dynamic. This tendency frequently arises in romantic partnerships, familial relationships, and close friendships, where well-meaning acts of kindness unintentionally foster dependency rather than mutual respect and independence. For example, consider a romantic relationship where one partner consistently sacrifices their own happiness to ensure the other feels loved and supported. Over time, this dynamic can lead to the dependent partner relying entirely on their significant other for emotional stability, decision-making, and validation. Rather than maintaining a balanced partnership, the relationship becomes lopsided, with one person assuming the role of caretaker while the other grows increasingly reliant on their support. A similar pattern can emerge between parents and adult children, where constant parental intervention prevents the child from developing self-sufficiency. The consequences of codependency extend beyond emotional strain. They can erode trust, breed resentment, and hinder personal growth for both individuals involved. As the giver of kindness becomes exhausted from constantly meeting the other person's needs, and the receiver struggles to develop autonomy, the relationship deteriorates rather than flourishes. Recognizing the fine line between supportive kindness and harmful dependency is essential in maintaining healthy, reciprocal relationships. 5. Eroding self-esteem and confidence. Excessive kindness, particularly when it involves constant self-sacrifice and the suppression of personal needs, can significantly erode self-esteem and confidence. When individuals habitually prioritize others' desires over their own, they may begin to question their own worth and capabilities. This pattern is especially damaging when kindness is met with ingratitude or exploitation, reinforcing the belief that their value lies solely in what they can offer others rather than in their intrinsic qualities. Over time, this mindset can lead to a diminished sense of self-worth, making individuals more prone to anxiety, insecurity, and chronic self-doubt. For example, consider a person who consistently agrees to help friends or co-workers despite their own pressing obligations. If their efforts go unnoticed or are taken for granted, they may start to feel invisible or unappreciated, questioning whether their contributions matter at all. Similarly, someone who avoids setting boundaries to maintain peace may struggle with asserting themselves in other areas of life, leading to a lack of confidence in decision-making and self-expression. The continuous act of placing others first without receiving reciprocal support can create a cycle of low self-esteem, where individuals feel unworthy of having their own needs met. Furthermore, the absence of self-advocacy associated with excessive kindness can prevent individuals from pursuing opportunities for personal and professional growth. When people are accustomed to putting others before themselves, they may hesitate to stand up for their rights, voice their opinions, or seek recognition for their achievements. This reluctance can reinforce feelings of inadequacy, limiting their ability to reach their full potential. Recognizing the importance of self-respect and learning to balance kindness with self-care is crucial in preserving a healthy sense of self-worth. 6. Creating resentment and burnout. Constantly extending kindness without setting boundaries can lead to deep-seated resentment and eventual burnout. When individuals give endlessly without receiving adequate support in return, they may begin to feel taken advantage of, leading to frustration and emotional exhaustion. This phenomenon is particularly prevalent among those who struggle with saying no, fearing conflict, or seeking external validation through their generosity. Over time, the cumulative weight of unreciprocated kindness can erode their mental and physical well-being, resulting in a state of chronic fatigue and disillusionment. For instance, consider a person who regularly volunteers for additional tasks at work to be helpful, often sacrificing their personal time and energy. Initially, their efforts may be appreciated, but as colleagues grow accustomed to their willingness to assist, expectations increase without recognition or compensation. Eventually, this individual may experience burnout, feeling overwhelmed and resentful as they struggle to keep up with demands that exceed their capacity. Similarly, in personal relationships, someone who constantly supports friends through crises without receiving emotional reciprocity may eventually feel drained and unvalued, leading to bitterness and withdrawal. Burnout caused by excessive kindness not only affects personal well-being but also strains relationships and diminishes productivity. The resentment that builds from unmet expectations can cause individuals to distance themselves from others, harming social connections and reducing their ability to engage meaningfully in both personal and professional settings. Recognizing the signs of burnout and learning to establish healthy limits is essential in maintaining sustainable kindness that does not compromise one's own well-being. 7. Undermining fairness and justice. While kindness is often associated with benevolence and compassion, applying it indiscriminately can sometimes undermine fairness and justice. When individuals prioritize kindness over objective principles, they may unintentionally favor certain people at the expense of others, leading to perceptions of bias and inequality. This issue commonly arises in professional settings, where managers or leaders who show undue leniency to certain employees may disrupt workplace equity. For example, a supervisor who consistently excuses an underperforming worker's mistakes out of sympathy may inadvertently demotivate high-performing colleagues who feel their efforts go unrecognized. Similarly, in academic environments, instructors who grant exceptions or inflated grades to struggling students without applying the same leniency to others can create an unfair advantage, eroding trust in the system's integrity. Beyond professional contexts, personal relationships can also suffer from misplaced kindness that compromises fairness. Consider a situation where a parent constantly defends a problematic child's behavior, shielding them from consequences while holding other siblings to stricter standards. This dynamic not only fosters resentment among siblings but also reinforces the idea that kindness excuses accountability. Additionally, in legal or ethical dilemmas, individuals who prioritize compassion over impartiality may struggle to make just decisions, potentially enabling wrongdoing under the guise of mercy. Ultimately, while kindness is a valuable trait, it must be balanced with fairness to ensure that actions remain just and equitable. Failing to uphold objective standards in the name of kindness can distort moral responsibility, leading to long-term consequences that outweigh the short-term comfort of being perceived as generous or forgiving. 8. Distorting moral judgment. An over-reliance on kindness can sometimes cloud moral judgment, leading individuals to justify unethical behavior under the guise of compassion. While empathy and generosity are admirable traits, they can become problematic when they override objective reasoning and ethical principles. People who prioritize kindness above all else may find themselves rationalizing actions that, while seemingly benevolent, violate broader moral standards or societal norms. This distortion of morality can manifest in various contexts, from personal relationships to legal and professional decision-making. For instance, consider a situation where a manager discovers that an employee has stolen company property due to financial hardship. An overly kind-hearted approach might involve ignoring the offense to spare the employee embarrassment or hardship, even though this action sets a precedent that could encourage similar misconduct among others. Similarly, in legal cases, jurors who base their verdicts solely on emotional appeals rather than factual evidence may deliver unjust outcomes, prioritizing sympathy over truth. These examples illustrate how excessive kindness can compromise objectivity, leading to decisions that appear compassionate but fail to uphold broader ethical standards. Additionally, individuals may struggle with moral dilemmas when they believe that being kind necessitates withholding criticism or avoiding difficult conversations. A teacher who refrains from addressing a student's plagiarism out of concern for their emotional well-being may unintentionally reinforce dishonest behavior. Likewise, a parent who refuses to discipline a child for fear of causing distress may hinder the child's ability to distinguish right from wrong. In each case, kindness, when misapplied, can obstruct moral clarity and prevent necessary lessons from being learned. Recognizing the balance between kindness and ethical responsibility is crucial in ensuring that compassion does not become a justification for compromising integrity. While kindness plays a vital role in fostering empathy and understanding, it must be tempered with sound judgment to prevent moral relativism from undermining important principles. Balancing kindness with wisdom. While kindness is a virtue that fosters connection and compassion, it must be exercised with discernment to avoid unintended consequences. Throughout this discussion, we have explored how unchecked kindness can enable toxic behavior, attract manipulation, hinder personal growth, create codependency, erode self-esteem, lead to burnout, undermine fairness, and distort moral judgment. These pitfalls highlight the importance of striking a balance between generosity and self-awareness, ensuring that kindness remains a source of strength rather than a vulnerability. To navigate this delicate balance, individuals should cultivate self-awareness and establish firm boundaries. Recognizing one's own needs and limitations is essential in preventing kindness from becoming self-sacrificial. Learning to say no when necessary and asserting personal values ensures that generosity does not come at the cost of well-being. Additionally, practicing discernment in relationships helps identify when kindness is being exploited or when it inadvertently reinforces harmful behaviors. Ultimately, kindness should not be abandoned but rather refined through wisdom and intentionality. By aligning compassion with self-respect and ethical responsibility, individuals can maintain their generosity without compromising their own growth and integrity.